Welcome back, everyone. This J-45 came in initially for an issue with the finish where the customer was leaning her arm on the side and the top. Well, she had bug spray all over. She was sitting out, I guess, on her deck. And so that was her initial concern. I did rub that out. I'm going to bring you in for a closer look. But right now we're dealing with the setup and fret dress. These are the strings the guitar is set up for. They're D'Addario EJ26. They generate 148 pounds. So the thing that you need to keep in mind, whether you're using a $160,000 CNC machine or you got a bunch of dial caliper poles up the back of the neck, you still need to understand that when you relieve the neck of 148 pounds tension, well, what happens? Well, the neck goes in a back bow. So before you go picking up a file to level anything, you need to understand that. I have not adjusted this truss rod. I've gone ahead and marked all the high spots. There's one spot there, another spot here, here, yeah, all the way across here, and one high spot right here on the treble side only. The rest of it's fine. Here at the 12th fret, yeah, all the way across, and then up here. This portion of the neck is not affected by the truss rod, but this certainly is. So the first thing we want to do is back off that truss rod and see if it's going to make any difference. I'm going to do that. I'm going to back that off. I've got that backed off to nothing. There is zero tension on there. Let's try that again. Oh, it's still ticking a little bit. So that does need to be dressed. Yeah, this one too. So these are all the high spots that need to be addressed. Now this one, on the bass side, after loosening off that truss rod, there's no more ticking. On the treble side, we still got a little bit, so I don't need to touch the bass side, only the treble side. And here, I'll go a little shorter straight edge. Yeah. So that's still rocking all the way across, even though I loosened off the truss rod. This we need to touch. This one all the way across. Yeah, and this one still just on the outside edge. Bass side is fine, doesn't need any work at all, so it's just here on the treble side. The 12th fret, as we saw a moment ago, needs to be worked all the way across, and the 17th fret is high all the way across. We've got to get this one high spot here. You see how I'm moving obliquely? I'm not moving straight along the fingerboard. That'll only cut a pathway into the crown of the fret. I'm moving obliquely. Now this is a single cut file, so it only cuts on the push stroke. Now we'll work this part, same thing. Move across obliquely like this. To get this side, I'm coming across obliquely again. So the thing to keep in mind is, although I'm moving obliquely, I don't tilt the file. I need to follow the trajectory of the string path. We just got that one spot here, and then the 12th is high all the way across. So you can see I'm cross-hatching. I'm going like so, and then come back the other way. This I know is high all the way across, so we're going to work that down. Okay, let's get our straight edge out again and check that. Yeah, no clicking or ticking now. Smaller straight edge. Nope. Oh, a little tiny bit of movement there. Just try that again. That's good. Just on that very outside edge. That's got it. This one, just on the bass side. Try that again. That's it. This one. And this one here. Nope, that's good. So we got all the high spots. So the fret crowns, the tip of the fret crowns along the entire length of the fingerboard are dead level. Now that we got them level, then we'll just touch them up with the Hosco crowning file. You have to make sure when you're using the crowning file that you don't touch the center of the fret. So after leveling, going across the fret this way, the crowns of the frets are slightly squared on top. So with the crowning file, we're just encouraging the crowns back to center. Just a few light strokes. These ones that took a bigger hit, maybe take a couple extra strokes. When I get to this part of the fingerboard on an acoustic guitar, I start on the highest part of the arch, which is the center, and work towards the bass side. Now I work towards the treble side, from the highest point of the radius to the treble side. And that is about all the crowning that we need to do. So with that fret dress, we have managed to get rid of all of those marks in the first 7 frets, and we leveled out those high spots on the top end. So what that does is it allows us to get the action down where it should be without having any rattling or buzzing problems. Our next step is to buff the frets out with a canvas strop on a die grinder. Now I've got this turned down so it's not infinite torque. If I push down, it'll stop. One more light brush with the steel wool to get rid of any of the compound. And now just a little drop of some lemon oil for final cleanup and to lubricate the board. So the practice with the lemon oil is kind of wipe it on and then wipe it off, nice and dry. You don't want to soak the fingerboard, you just give it a very light oiling. So you can see the way I've got this set up here. We have the pivoting neck assembly, the telescopic blocks spread and restrict the flex of the neck while we're doing all our leveling. So when I push down, the neck does not flex. So we got all the high spots, we've recrowned, we've polished. Time to check out our work. The main reason the guitar was dropped off in the first place was the bug spray that the customer had on her arm rubbed off onto the lacquer, and man, it was eating it up pretty good. Now, I went over this, started with a 1200 grit wet, and then went up to 15, 18, 22, 24, 3200, 3600, 4000, 6000, 8000, 12,000 grit, and then did the final rub with an ultrafine liquid compound. Now, there's still a little bit of haziness there. That is just normal sweat from the forearm. Nothing to get alarmed about. Now, there was one spot. Yeah, that's it right there. That was the worst spot. And I was afraid to rub any more. I didn't want to break into the Clearcoat, so I just kind of stopped there. And just when I thought that I had got all the spots, there were multiple ones. It was mostly here and here on the top of the side here, the lower bout. Even here on the pick guard, she must have reached around and grabbed the guitar or something with that insect repellent on her hands. All through here, there were kind of finger and palm prints here. We definitely got the lion's share of it out. Other than that one spot right there, I just didn't want to go any deeper because I was afraid I'd break through to the Clearcoat. Just when I thought I'd got every single last spot, well, I flipped it over and lo and behold, she must have had insect repellent on her leg, because you can see the print here that it left. I'm going to go right through this whole process again and give you guys a front row seat on exactly what I did to get rid of the worst of that. This is what I went through with all those other areas. Here's our first 1200 grit. Here's our 1800 grit. So going a little bit beyond the immediate area where the bug spray had eaten into the lacquer, just to blend it in. These are 2400. $3,200. $3,600. These are 4,000 grit. This is our 6,000 grit. $8,000. There's 12,000. It's interesting. This stuff was actually developed, believe it or not, for the airline industry, so that they could sand the plexiglass of the windshield on the commercial airlines. They could sand it clear. And that's our final wet sand, 12,000 grit. That's what we got so far. Finish it up with this, which is an ultrafine liquid compound. This was the underside. Because I didn't see it that first day, that insect repellent kind of sat on the lacquer for an extra day. But it came out pretty good. I'm happy with that. Now we can get this guitar back to the customer for our gig. We've come this far, so I may as well just finish off that last little bit. That's our 1200. I won't bore you with the details now. You saw what I went through with all those other spots. The last thing I wanted to point out was we did switch over to the 11 to 52 strings tuned to concert pitch, and we needed to cantilever the saddle, so we made a new compensated saddle. If you look closely at this, you'll see that the D string and the G string cantilever past the edge of the slot for the saddle, and that's what was needed to get this thing to line up 100%. After the fret work and then all of that rubbing and the new compensated cantilever bridge saddle and the EJ26 D'Addarios, now we could just sit down and check the guitar out. We'll bring it into the studio. The straight acoustic. So here's the system. Now, I had a subscriber leave a comment this morning asking about the pickup system, how it works with the new saddle, and whether there was any issue with the strings. And you definitely have to take some extra care when you have that type of saddle in to make sure you do have that even response all the way across. When I'm finished a guitar, just to be able to check everything, string to string response, intonation of course, and overall playability, I like to kind of play a loop and play over top of it. Now, because I can plug this in, that allows me to do that. So this is the loop. A minor 9 to B diminished 7, D minor to E7 flat 9, again A minor 9, A minor 9 over G, F major 7 sharp 11 to E. So I'll let that play. Okay, the other test, of course, is just to play multiple varieties of the same chord, different inversions. This is along the entire length of the neck. So A major 7, first position, 4th position, 10th position, and then an octave higher than that original chord. So the idea is any chord, D, E, if the guitar is calibrated properly, you should be able to play all those chords. Well, the customer's on her way, so I'm not going to be able to do much more than that today.